The pluses are correct responses, the minuses are incorrect, and then the little asterisk is a self-correct. And so she's got pre-test data here, and then the next slide shows post-test data. So that's really easy for us to visually see. Here's the before, here's the after. And then to go along with your visual of the data, you need a narrative to explain to us what does this all mean. To show us that you can actually interpret these numbers and the pluses and minuses, and you can say, okay, so this means, this many kids went from this score to this score, and the overall percentage changed from this to this, and this is why I think some kids did worse on the post-test, because that might happen, it usually does, and you're like, why did this kid do this? So your analysis needs to show that you really are thoughtful about what the data tells you in terms of your instruction and in terms of student learning. And there's just another example of a visual. That's the same results, just a different format. So a graph. The more different ways you can represent the data, I think the better. Represent it visually a couple of different ways, and then have a note that explains everything that's in the chart. Don't have a chart or a visual without some sort of narrative to tell us what that all means. I don't want to see that you can make a fancy graph in Excel. I want to see that you know what it means, what the data means. So that's what you need to include in your narrative. So let's talk about this at your tables for just a second. Turn and talk to the folks at your tables. What are some takeaways for you from this assessment stuff? And start brainstorming some ideas about what might your assessment be. How can you find out what they know before? And then what sort of assessment might you do during the unit and then after? And then this idea of the conflict of balancing planning in advance with being responsive. So let's talk about these as our tables for just a second.
You can hear us.
That's so dirty. You can do first to bottom.
Yeah, there's a lot of informal things to it. So I feel like our lesson plans are going to just be like an outline of here's the materials I'm using, here's what I'm doing. Is that are there scriptures? I don't know.
Window probably is.
See, that's my thing.
I mean, as long as you're assessing, I don't feel like
So if they're not scripted, then the lesson plan is just like an outline. So when you do 5 to 5, then you can be like, oh, apparently I need to restate what I just said. So you can go back. Just being like, well, okay, sorry, let's keep going because my lesson.
That's not in my lesson plan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's better than
I don't know. I feel like with back then,
that's why I'm just
They do that with rocks and
See, we're doing like science, and I was like,
here's some
balance and motion. Push this, pull this. You got it. Okay. Wow. Can you stay on one foot? But so I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have that one on test.
That's what I think.
they have something. We talk about accent
You could do both the questions and you could have them show you.
they rate it, show you, and
Show you the questions.
whatever they know.
Show you what's going on. Or add the two fractions together. So they can try to multiply.
They would freak out. Because we did, when I was there, last week, and we were talking about like someone's board, and I was like, you should have me on those. So I used to, like, example, there's 8 people in this room, and if the 4th of us walk into this room, I was like, Jesse, come along with me. I was like, look, a 4th of the people are out of the room now. See? I feel like they kind of understand.
That's the drawing motion.
They were able to show me
They're so happy.
They did.
No, I was talking to Harper.
She was like freaked out from what
So we may learn about
she told me.
how
She was like, because I said to her,
I didn't know about this. Nothing, nothing else is new except this. I've never heard of it. I just went into it.
Well, that's what I told her. I was like, I'm doing science because that's what she said would be the easiest thing for me to do. And they're going to have an experiment with kids. Use those things. But I don't know when they're going to have that. They don't know how much they have to do. They have the experimentability and they just do what you want to.
see, I don't know about this. So things I don't know like
Well, I looked on the thing, and it's due January 2nd, but then they review it and correct it, and you have to make changes.
so you don't.
So your changes could be like, this up, do it again.
Yeah,
I'll cry.
they literally, because that's what we did, like, we got to like, maybe we were talking, somebody was like, I mean, if we review it on January 2nd and don't think that this is going to be strong enough to send to the state, we can tell you to redo it.
I'll cry. Every day. Sit on the floor.
But then I couldn't do something.
Who?
I remember she had to redo it, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah. I think she just stayed.
But you could really extend it. I mean, just with technology. I mean, that would be really.
I like knowing all this stuff about it all this stuff.
Stresses me out.
Be like, tell me, I work at it.
While you're doing it,
Like, tell me like this every
I think that, but I thought
It has to be turned into the state before you can get your license. Because they have to review something during other schools. I don't know if it's exactly like this, but you have, everybody has to turn in something to the state to be able to do it.
I would. To make sure that we have everybody in my class is on. And I will double check.
stresses me out so much. All I want to do is take a nap now. I'm like, can't do it. I gotta go sit in Spanish class. Wait, Thursday.
Possibly create one if we need to. That way we've got to be in our hands in the room.
Thursday.
Is it okay if your child is
Student teachers the cars that you buy me a
we have video release that's why I would feel better about it. I would rather get more information.
I can't work when they search for school there.
And 5 kids, and they're just signing up. I do a check
And she is like, she's training me to do their like paperwork so that I can do it. I can come in for like 2 hours and do their paperwork and send it in. And so she's paying like salary just by doing that. So she's working hard. I don't know how anybody else is doing it. They're open on the second day.
She works at Old Navy.
I just want to get more specific to
because everywhere in Illinois,
and I don't want anybody that's not right, but I'm just
they're asking me to come in like when I
Questions
can.
came up in your table talk. Any questions that would be good for everybody to hear the answers to? You guys have the same question?
Yes, I all do. You all do. The lesson. There's 10 lessons.
Yes.
One lesson be more than 1 day.
Yes, one lesson can be more than 1 day. Dr. Painter, if a lesson goes over, let's say 3 days, does that count for 3 or does that count for 1? That was a question that I had before too.
The way I would say it counts for 3, but you write a plan for each of those days, because you're gonna start and review and talk about what you did, and
You can teach one thing over.
But you want to write different
One
things.
activity takes 3 days, but that's 3 lesson plans. You write up what's happening.
It doesn't matter how long it is. Because what if I write like 10 5-minute lessons?
Okay, well, I don't think that counts.
I know, but I think it make up the whole time. like whatever your science time is.